This is the Eagle Eye Focus Sports Talk podcast. I'm Louis DB. I'll be your host today. Today is the recap of the Week 2 loss to the San Diego Chargers, as well as the preview for tomorrow night's Thursday night juicy opener, Eagles versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Andy Reid, Big Red, returns to Lincoln Financial Field to face the Eagles for the first time since being fired last season. The Eagles stand at 1-1 right now, tied for first in the NFC East, off of a 33-30 loss against the San Diego Chargers. Michael Vick is probably off to the hottest start of his career, hottest first two games of his career, as well as Deshaun Jackson, who had 191 yards and a touchdown against this Chargers defense. A great game it was, but again, it came down to the last second. The defense could not make a stop when it counted most. This defense looks terrible. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still very optimistic based on the fact that they look good Monday night against Washington, and against Kansas City. It's gonna be a tough one though. You have to expect that this is gonna be a high-scoring matchup. Very similar teams. Two very similar running backs in Jamal Charles versus LeSean McCoy. The Chiefs' defense is very underrated. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to name off every guy from the team, but that's a pretty good team, and I think that the Eagles are going to have to really just. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to come down to the last minute drive. The Eagles are going to have to stop them on defense when it matters, and the games are not always going to be blowouts. The games are going to be close, and you're going to need to be able to rely on your defense sometimes to make stops, like they needed to Week 2 against the Chargers, which just did not happen. Philip Rivers was spot on. Eddie Royal caught two more touchdowns. Kerry Williams had probably the worst game I've ever seen. The secondary-wise, the Eagles just look atrocious. Chip Kelly says Earl Wolf is not ready yet. I think he's probably right. I don't know. I think with safety position, I think Patrick Chung's been quietly inconsistent, yet he hasn't done anything really that has gotten him criticism other than the jump in the Monday night game that he just totally missed on. Nate Allen just has struggled, and I think everybody knows he's not the answer there. I think people really want to see what Earl Wolf can do. Brandon Hughes has been placed on the short-term IR list. So, that's not a great thing to hear. And the Eagles signed a Texans corner off the practice squad. So, to me, I think the Chargers, there's a lot of things you could take from it. They're still 1-1. Everybody in the NFC East lost, so we kind of broke even. But, man, can I not wait for tomorrow's game. It's just going to be incredible to watch. If they can get off to a 2-1 start and beat the Chiefs on Thursday Night Football, it'll be incredible. Just an incredible thing to watch, and I definitely think that Chip Kelly and this offense are going to be ready. It's going to be a tough defense, so again, like I said, and they have to be ready. They have to run the football more. They only 11 carries for LeSean McCoy last week compared to his 31 in Monday night. You need to get a balance between those two numbers around the 22-23 area carry-wise, but then that means, too, getting Bryce Brown and Chris Polk involved here against the Chiefs. Andy Reid in that offense is going to be interesting to see how much read option and pistol formation they do, which is one of the big pieces of their offense with Alex Smith at the helm. He's looked great there, 2-0, coming off a big win, 17-16 against the Dallas Cowboys. So actually, thank you, Andy Reid, for beating the Cowboys as you've kept the Eagles in first place. It is only 2 weeks, obviously, but against this team Thursday night, so many storylines. Obviously, Michael Vick and LeSean McCoy and Deshaun Jackson, all very close with Andy Reid, said, yeah, give him a big hug. They miss him. But after a while, the game is a game, and they have to get ready for this football game that is very important for this Eagles team. This is their third game in 11 days, but they knew that this is how it was going to be. Chip Kelly's getting this team ready, but it's not really him that I'm concerned with. It's Billy Davis's defense. Special teams-wise, the Eagles have looked great in the first two games, but I think heading into the Chiefs, they need to use Demarcus Johnson and James Casey much more than they did in the first two games. I wrote an article about this. I think James Casey was brought in here for a reason. He's the exact prototypical type player for a versatile player for a Chip Kelly type offense that likes to use the tight ends. Just look at the first game, Selk had 52 yards off of 2 receptions and a touchdown. Then last week, Ertz had 2 big receptions for 56 yards, so he looked good. I think this might be the week that they utilize James Casey. I mean, honestly, you should start using some 3 tight end sets Thursday night. Chip Kelly's obviously not going to reveal everything in the first 2 games, so there's still things about Chip Kelly's offense that this Eagles team that we just do not know about. I mean, that's what I think. And I think that, if you put Ertz and Casey in the slot, you can do this. And then put Selleck on the line. I mean, there's things you can do with this team with James Casey. Put him at fullback, or just at basic tight end, substitution-wise, with this fast-paced offense. You just got to be able to find a way to get him in. And Demarcus Johnson, I'm not so sure that they need to use him very much on offense. I think it's special teams. He needs to break one on kick returning or punt returning. I think that he's been somewhat productive there at that position, but the Eagles defensively on special teams have just been terrific. I mean, for wide receiver, they like to run a lot of 2 to 3 wide receiver sets. In the fourth, really, I mean, Jeff Mayhell was the one playing 2 snaps to Demarcus Johnson's 1 against Washington. Neither one played pretty much anything against San Diego. Against Kansas City, they have 2 really good corners in Brandon Flowers and Sean Smith, who they got over from the Miami Dolphins. I think that this might be a chance for Jason Avant to have a big game. Dunta Robinson is out Thursday night. Man, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for Rich Eisen and all those guys covering this Eagles team. But what's up with that funky NFL Network theme song? I mean, all the NFL songs are great, and then you have that. You're gonna love my city. Yeah. I'm not much of a singer, as you can tell. I probably just lost 700 views. But as you can tell, I'm more of a podcast guy, than a musical singer. But I do have a little bit of talent, as well as a friend of the podcast does, Julian Vandervelde. Maybe I'll have him come in and record my theme song. So again, you can go to my blog at eaglesportstalk.blogspot.com. I've posted some great articles, not really to toot my own horn, but about this coming week. This is the preview for the Eagles, but I was reporting, and I know Eagles fans probably don't like this. I was up in Buffalo reporting for Bills Carolina Panthers game for the All 32 Access website, sitting right next to an Eagles flag, waving it around every time the Eagles scored, and I get beer thrown on me. Just shows the hostile NFL fans. But second game in Lincoln Financial Field, I think Chip Kelly has to do better of clock management. I think he struggled with that week 2. He admits it. But I think that what he has to do, really, you're not going to run a fast-paced offense if you have a big lead. You need to control the pace, but at the same time, if there's certain situations like last week against San Diego where you're in the red zone and you want to score a touchdown, they hurried it up instead of milking the clock so the Chargers don't get as good of an opportunity to get back down the field and score and win the game, which ended up actually being what happened. He needs to do that. He needs to do a better job of that. Pat Sherman needs to help out with that in that aspect of it offensively. I think still the offense, they scored 63 points in the first 2 games. I mean, that to me, there's no concerns right now. As of right now, I'm saying, because if the turnovers start happening again, well, look out. But they haven't. Vic does not have an interception yet. I think it's a product. I think that's due to this, how the offense is played. They want the ball out of Vic's hands quickly. The read option is working terrific. Vic had 54 yards and a touchdown the first game, and he also had a touchdown the second, so he has 1 in each. And I think against Kansas City, might be running with Tom Howley and Justin Houston on that line, as well as Dontari Poe, who's 3rd in sacks with 3.5. That's a big-time line. That's probably, to me, the key matchup is the Eagles' offensive line versus the Chiefs' defensive line. If they can control that, get the ball out of Vic's hands quickly, get it to the tight ends, because honestly, even that not so. The Chiefs, there really isn't a weak point on that defense. Defensively for the Eagles, they need to take out Jamal Charles. I think secondary-wise, I think they actually might catch a break this week, as the Chiefs do not really have that good of a receiving core. Other than Dwayne Bowe, I think Kerry Williams can handle him. Bradley Fletcher will be back after his concussion. He missed the game against San Diego. I mean, to me, they don't have any big-time tight ends. Their second guy, really, A.J. Jenkins, or, I mean, whoever you want to say is the guy. I don't think is really big of a threat. Bradley Fletcher is very underrated for this Eagles football team. Everyone was saying how really not productive he looked against Washington, but he held his own, and then you saw what happened when he wasn't there against San Diego. He struggled to a high level. He struggled a lot, as everybody saw, and really, well, they struggled. Brandon Hughes is their outside guy. Brandon Boykin is going to remain in the slot. And to me, I think it stays that way as we need that veteran presence, those veterans at corner, because of how weak safety is. And we have no depth at corner either, which is a major concern. But for this week, I think they're going to be all right. My final prediction for the Eagles-Chiefs game is going to be, let's see here, with a good defense for the Chiefs, but a great offense for the Eagles. I like them to score 28 points here. Not as much as the first two games, but I think the Chiefs' defense is much better, and I think the Chiefs will score. I'll say 28 to 24 is the final score. I think Eagles take it. I'm not gonna predict the Eagles to lose this game. I think it's pretty big for them to start off 2-1 and get a jump start in this division. The New York Giants are 0-2. The Washington Redskins 0-2. Both struggling so far. And the Dallas Cowboys at 1-1, but they have some injury concerns that they need to address. I think the Eagles are in a good position right now. Thursday night they'll get a break next week because they have a very tough game up in Mile High City against the Denver Broncos. That's what's going to be super tough about this. This is almost a must-win because I don't really know. I mean, the Broncos can even lose a game this year. I mean, the Eagles' offense is it's high octane, but the Broncos' defenses look great, and I don't want to get too far into Week 4, kind of looking ahead, but just the importance of this game against the Chiefs and Andy Reid. The emotion's going to be high with Andy Reid coming back as he was the longest-term head coach in the NFL coming off last year. I think Andy Reid's correct if there wasn't a football game to play, he would probably reflect back and it would be more emotional, but to me, it's just a football game, and I think the players know that, and I think after the game, maybe they can reflect on it more, but the Eagles need this win, so they can't really hang their heads and not hang their heads certainly, but they can't really dwell on the whole pretty much storylines of the game is because they need a win and improve to 2-1, which I think they will do. Again, hoping Michael Vick stays healthy. He's been taking far too many unnecessary hits. But I don't know if that's because of the offense, read option-wise, or if it's just that he's just Michael Vick. I think he's just not going to change. I don't think you're not going to be able to get him to hook slide like Chip Kelly said in his press conference. He did a better job of getting out of bounds against San Diego, but again, just too many unnecessary hits. It's going to come with the territory. It's Michael Vick, and it's go big or go home, really. And at 1-1, I'm comfortable with the position they're in. And tomorrow's going to be a great game, and I cannot wait for it. So that's going to do it for today's Eagle Eye Focus Sports Talk podcast. Quick preview for the Chiefs and also recap of the San Diego Chargers loss. Apparently, congratulations, Chargers are winning the Super Bowl. After the last 4 teams, just hear the stat, I'm sure you've seen it before. The last 4 teams to face the Eagles in their season opener have won the Super Bowl. Just putting that out there, so congratulations, Chargers. Yeah, you're not winning the Super Bowl. Maybe it's reversing this year. Maybe the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl. Maybe the season opener still wins the Super Bowl, but it's Philadelphia. That'd be awesome to beat it, to win it in Eli's town. Or you could say Mark Sanchez. Geno Smith? Nope, and nope. So, again, thanks for joining us here on the Eagle Eye Focus Sports Talk podcast. Follow me on Twitter at DB Sports Talk for all your up-to-date Eagles. Except for during the games, I like to concentrate on the game and then reflect on it after. Go to our website, eaglesportstalk.blogspot.com for all the latest articles and podcasts. I'll be having weekly preview articles and recap podcasts, and then the latest news in the beef of the meat of the week. And check out our All 32 website at all32access.weebly.com. We got some great stuff going there so far. We're having a debate show coming up this Saturday. Week 3 is coming. It's already week 3. Geez. But the Eagles are currently standing at 1-1. So again, that's going to do it. Have a great night. And fly high, go Birds. Tomorrow's going to be a great game, and we'll see you later. Thanks for joining me.